Doc Rivers continues to time and time again not get it when it comes to getting... Oh! Let him play!
He wins. Great steak. Smells like poop.
Honestly, like if Urban Meyer wants to come to Connecticut,
Bring him on. I mean, come on. I'll take him too.
Nia Jackson, I think, weighs 280 pounds.
Oh!
can we isolate that clip? Nia Jax weighs 280 pounds. Oh!
Let her play. From Los Angeles, this is Dave in the City, brought to you by Locks of the Week Radio. Now, here's Dave Medina.
Good evening, sports fans! And a pleasure to have you here for the big baseball show. Good to have you with us from the Dave in the City studios in sunny Southern California. This has been quite a block. It's been... you may have seen in the local news that there's actually a murder here in our neighborhood the other day. But an isolated incident, certainly a domestic incident. That's all I know. I mean, we just saw a bunch of cars on our block, a bunch of cop cars, and then in the morning the next day, all the news trucks were on my corner. That was unusual. And then one of the guys that was setting up, a field report there, told one of my neighbors. But it's kind of crazy, you hear about that kind of stuff in the movies and whatever, but to have one like in your area is pretty nuts. But it's part of life in a big city. So you just gotta just be safe, be careful out there, and we'll see. I guess we'll find out what the storyline was behind it. You just don't know. Like it could have been anything at this point. So that's the reality right now. But for the moment, we're talking some baseball. And Aria in Philadelphia cannot join us tonight, but for good reason. He and his wife are bringing in a new baby girl into the world, and we're very happy for it. I hope, hopefully, it was okay for me to say that on air, but we're happy for Fids. So meanwhile, we're going to bring in our friend Gerry in Piscataway. We're going to talk about the Yankees-Dodgers series over the weekend. We'll do a little bit of Yankees coverage in our first half hour, then segue into the rest of Major League Baseball. There are a lot of topics, and if we have time, we'll even do some random questions at the end, and we'll look ahead towards the postseason. Realistically, all the division races are done. Like I don't think you're going to see much change. The only one you might see would be maybe if the Cubs give away the division to the Cardinals. I don't think they're giving away anything to the Brewers. Brewers are ass. They're losing again. 1 run in 7 innings. I mean, this team is ass. It's like, you remember how great that offense was last year? Well, they are just not that good. I mean, I think it goes to show you how important Christian Yelich was to that team a year ago. Now, he's still in contention for an MVP this year, but he has not been hitting that well in the last 3 weeks, and the rest of the offense has just sagged without his production. And they're actually kind of a similar spot with the Dodgers and Bellinger. Bellinger's not hitting very well in recent weeks, and we're seeing the end result of that in what happened last weekend. So, with all that hardball on the table and a lot of bickering going on at the plate, let's get to it. I get word that Cap's an aspiring podcaster himself, so I will share with him. Read those buttons carefully when you press them. I use BossChalk if anyone's wondering. An app that you can use in your iPad to play, sound clips and stuff, jingles, things like this. And now let's bring in our friend Gerry in Piscataway. Gerry, hope you're safe. How's it going tonight?
Dave, good. Thanks for having me. I got the Yankee game on TV, and is Dodgers Twitter freaking out? Are they calling the Dodgers fraudulent? Are they calling them they on to 2020? It's because that's what happens when the Yankees lose a game to any team that's half decent. So I wonder if it's happening to the Dodgers too.
No, I'm pretty sure of it. Every fan base has a Mongo contingent. Like I don't think there's any difference between them and the Cubs Twitter or the Phillies Twitter. I mean, I bet you the Phillies Twitter is like, oh, what a waste of money. But actually, they might be right on that one. But what do you think Phillies Twitter's doing right now, Cap? They must be like, oh my goodness, these guys aren't made for Philadelphia, blah blah blah. What do you think?
Oh, I'm sure they've been going nuts all season. Phillies have greatly underachieved all year. Now they're starting to play a little better, I think. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure they've been going nuts. And, I'm not, the majority of my people I follow are either, they're baseball related, whether it's writers, bloggers, beat writers, things like that. But as far as fan base goes, it's majority Yankees. So that's what I see on a daily basis. The idiocy that is Yankee Twitter, but we can get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Let's start with the series from the weekend. There was a lot of buildup, surprising amount of buildup for two teams that are really not playing for a lot at this exact moment, because they both have a division well in hand. I think you would agree with that. I think your team's division's chances are very good. The Dodgers have a 100% chance, 100% chance to win the division. And with the magic number down to, what was it, like 11 or 12 right now? I mean, they're looking good. So it's obviously not much from that standpoint, but you do have the home field advantage to play for, at least, in concept. And just the idea that the Yankees are playing the Dodgers and both teams are as good as they are, it really was great juice. And the energy in the building was terrific, Cap. I just wish that the Dodgers brought that energy to the plate. They were so soft. I know that we both come from different places when we talk, but obviously you're happy. The Yankees really could have swept them. And honestly, Kenley Jansen did not deserve to win after the way he pitched on Saturday. And the Yankees just pounded the home runs. They had, how many did they hit? Like 9 for the series? I mean, that...
I know Judge hit one in every game.
Yeah, he did. He had one in every single game. And and the Dodgers just got embarrassed. I mean, let's just say it how it is. I mean, they were absolutely humiliated by the Yankees over the weekend. It's a very interesting series because, we've been talking about how the bullpen is this and that. I think the biggest problem for the Dodgers, at least, was the fact that they were too aggressive at the plate. I just think that they were a little too excited to jump on the first pitch. And Cap, I want to ask you first. Let's get your thoughts on the series. I'll get to my theory about why I think the Dodgers jumped on all the first pitches, but they didn't seem like they brought the same level of competitiveness at the plate that the Yankees did. They were completely shut down, and specifically Cody Bellinger was like, I don't know, 0 for 9, 1 for 9. He was terrible. And when your best player is 1 for 9 for the series, you're just not going to win that many games, and you're not going to score that many runs. The Dodgers scored 5 runs in that entire series. And the next night at San Diego, they scored 4. So that just gives you a feel for just how little they brought to the table. I was very disappointed, honestly. I really thought that the Dodgers, everybody was talking about how they're the best team in baseball, best offense in the NL, best offense in the sport. They had the highest this and that. They're the most home runs and this and that. They had set the record for home runs, this and that. They go to the series of the Yankees. I think they hit like 2 home runs the whole series. Yankees had like 3 home runs in an inning. Like, it just makes you wonder whether this team is ready for the postseason, Cap. You just don't get the sense that was a very disappointing series. And I'm sorry that and this is supposed to set you up, but I'm just going. I just thought I was very disappointed. I thought that we'd have a lot more close games. We'd have maybe a game that was like 9-7, and the Dodgers really just didn't show up in some of that series. So I don't know what you can do, but it is a long season, and I don't think anything has changed in terms of how we evaluate that team's offense. But you do wonder if there's something to the idea that they can't hit lefties because every lefty has come up to them and made them feeble. Everyone. And Lauer actually
Oh, my God, Aaron Judge hit a ball 500 feet.
Oh, did he really?
Jesus Christ, that ball was absolutely smoked.
Where was that yesterday?
That was the second pitch. That was the 5th pitch of the game.
Really?
DJ LeMahieu, of course, leads off the game with a single. And Aaron Judge hits the ball to center field that if that wall wasn't there, it probably would have kept going to wherever they play college football out there. That ball was smoke.
Well, I got to give it to him on that. I mean, he has really turned it back on. Pretty much from the point that he left Oakland, or even in Oakland, I think he was starting to turn it around.
He changed his stance a little bit. And I know a couple weeks ago, I think I pointed out that I was looking at the launch angle charts, and he was starting to get back to what his swing was when he was hitting these bombs. And his launch angle was slowly getting back to that. And I think you're seeing, the benefits of him, changing his approach a little bit and changing maybe tweaking his swing, and he's just been hitting bombs ever since. So
yeah, no, it's a good spot. Let me just wrap up my rant here with the following.
Sure, sorry about that.
Yeah, first of all, but the bottom line is, I don't think anybody wants to overreact to a series like this. And again, when you talk about a team that's so far ahead in the standings, it's not like, I don't even think you worry too much if you lose 2 out of 3 to anybody. So they're not. I don't think they are worried, but I didn't like that. I didn't like that they weren't bringing more at the plate. And the second half of that is they weren't losing these games to like your guys' best start. Well, I mean, who are your best starters? I mean, I don't even know who your best starters are right now. Like, who would you say is their best starter at this point? Like, is it?
I would say, Herman's been good. Paxton, as much as people want to be down on him, his past couple starts have been good.
Yeah.
His stuff is there. I think as you saw when you guys faced him.
Yeah.
If he's able to lock it, you saw it against Boston,
right?
Saw it against you guys. He's a lefty that throws 99 miles an hour.
He does throw the ball very hard. That's true.
Yeah, he's got good stuff. And on James Paxton, I was kind of wanted to maybe wait to get into this, but there's a list where from 2000 before he came to the Yankees, 2000 and I gave 3 years. I believe I did 2016, 2017, and 2018. And he was the 12th most valuable pitcher. And number 10 was Luis Severino. James Paxton was 12th. And he was right in the area where like Noah Syndergaard was. He was higher than Trevor Bauer. So a lot of people that are sitting there said, "Oh, I hated the Paxton deal from the beginning." Why? The guy was a top-flight starter before he came here. Why would you hate the Paxton deal? And, we'll get into that when, I talk about my issues with the Yankee Twitter. But I think, our best starts, it's difficult because we don't have that ace. We don't have that Gerrit Cole. We don't have that Justin Verlander. But if we're able to throw Tanaka, we're able to throw Herman, able to throw Paxton, and, Severino right now is at 35 pitches. They're hoping to ramp him up to at least 70 at some point in September, whereas, he may not be, a 6-7 inning pitcher guy, but if we could start him and he may be able to go 5, and depending on his pitch on is, maybe even 6, it depends on the night. I think those are, like I said, maybe not aces, but they're quality arms. And as you saw this weekend, our bullpen has a lot of quality arms.
Oh,
in the back end. So
that bullpen is so
we
good.
don't necessarily need, you have some of our best pitchers who had one on the mound in a playoff series. It'd be Masahiro Tanaka based on what his, history has been. But I do think James Paxton's starting to come around.
So,
he's pitching tonight. No, he's pitching tomorrow.
Right.
So, but I
he's
do
gonna
think he's
probably
coming
want to
around.
win. He's probably going to want to really put in a good game going against his former team like that in Seattle.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
he's going
right?
against the guy they traded him for. So
yeah. Quick. So would you then say? So would that be a consensus then in your head that a self consensus that he's the best? He's pitching the best out of all those guys right now in the rotation.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, yes.
Yeah.
Herman got shelled at Oakland, but over the past couple starts, Paxton has been pitching really well. So hopefully he's able to keep that up. And I was really, I thought that, he was starting to turn the corner, and what he was able to do in L.A. just, prove that. And, the thing with him is when he gets behind batters and has to, try to battle back and he's nibbled, that's when he has a problem. But he was pitching with conviction. He's getting ahead of batters. He's got a lot of swings and misses. So, yeah, I was really happy with what I saw, and hopefully he could build on that.
Well, I mean, if you're going by what happened on the weekend, I certainly see that he's been pitching, at least certainly pitching better, if not pretty decently overall. So what I would say, but I have to admit, the rotation just in general is not. It just feels, and don't take this personally, it just feels beatable. And the Dodgers didn't do anything against those guys. I mean, you've seen other teams go after them and put big guys on base and really give them a tough time. It just surprised me. I just thought.
CC I was a little surprised about. But granted, you want to say he pitched well, fine. He pitched 4 innings and gave up 2 runs. He did get a bunch of swings and misses, but he went 4 innings and gave up 2 runs. And that's not, nothing to really celebrate. But, he kept us in the game, which was great. But a guy like Herman, he's had some road struggles this year. at home, he's been really, really good. I've seen him shut down the Rays, seen him shut down the Red Sox. He's pitched some really good games. So as far as him, I wasn't surprised that he pitched that well. The only guy that really surprised me, I thought that, maybe CeCe would get in a little bit more trouble than he did. But, between Herman and Paxton, I really wasn't surprised on what was going on with those two when they pitched. Granted, I didn't think that they would pitch as good as they did. Either offense is extremely good. So I thought maybe there'd be some, innings where they give up a couple runs. But that was just the way that the series went. And, from my side of it, I know it was frustrating on your end. I would be frustrated on my end as well. But it's one series, and I've seen even in 2017, 2018, the Yankees would struggle in the series and a team that could potentially face in the, in the playoffs or say in the World Series or something. A lot of the fans would be frustrated, and I'd be frustrated. But it is one series. You guys have played phenomenal all year, and I do hope that we see each other again because that means we're on the biggest stage of baseball. So.
Yeah. Well, now let me get into some potential theories behind some of the strategy the Dodgers employed during the series. Two things. Now, I was about to say that the Dodgers didn't send out their best pitchers, but actually, Ryu and Kershaw, that's two of their best pitchers, so I can't even say that. Kershaw pitched pretty well, and I think we were talking about that in the text. I mean, he was very good. The slider was really good. I was really impressed with that slider. It was really fooling some people. So that was cool. Gonsolin pitching as well as he did was a shock. I mean, the guy had barely been in the league, and I got to give it to him for that, too. I thought he did very well. But Ryu, holy shit. I'm like, he's been dominating all year with that breaking ball, but he just kept leaving it up. And the Yankees just pounced all over his slow off-speed stuff all night. I mean, we already know that he doesn't have that fast.
He was due for one of those. He's been so good all year. He hasn't really had a clunker like that, right?
I have to think that that's it, because honestly, it's really only been like 3 games this year out of, 20 that he's been that bad? I mean, there's one against Colorado. There's one other one where he wasn't great, and then this one. So, I don't think you really get too wrapped up in it yet, but you just don't hope it's not a correlation. And I go back to when he was pitching in Fenway and how bad he was in Fenway in October. But he did pitch in Fenway later, and he was decent. Like, he kept him in the game. So, and that was this year. So that definitely is inconclusive. But, you just want to see your guy do well. And he just wasn't even just bad. He was absolutely brutal. So there is that. Now, let's get to the back to the offense. And really the reason I was bringing the other thing I was wondering about was whether there could have been some scouts who were telling the Dodgers coaching staff to jump on first pitches, because the regularity with which every guy in the lineup jumped on like early pitches, the first pitch or the second pitch, was very unusual. And for a guy like me who's followed the Dodgers all year, even though I hadn't been watching the games, we still know that they have prided themselves on working the count and taking pitches. And so this was very, very unusual. Like even Muncy was having a bad at bat. And you know that his MO is just like working the count to 3 and 2. He's really good at that. So do you think that there was some kind of specific game plan to go on first pitches because they thought that they were going to get like a good pitch to hit on those first pitches, Cap?
I mean, you watch the Dodgers a lot more than I do, so I don't know exactly how they play every day. But it did put them at a disadvantage because they were letting our pitchers get ahead.
Oh, yeah.
And whether it be 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, and that obviously is a disadvantage for the batter. Right. And, our pitchers were getting ahead, and especially or the guys in the bullpen who have, big-time strikeout stuff. If they get ahead, you're in a lot of trouble. So, I mean, it could have been a game plan, or they said, hey, they throw first pitch strikes, or they attack this way, they attack that way. They wanted to maybe jump on them early. Now, I haven't watched you guys all year on a daily basis, like I said, so I don't know if that's what your offense does. But if you watch them more than I do, so if you think their approach or their attack change, and yeah, that could have definitely been came from the coaching staff or whether they had their pregame meetings and they decided to attack our pitchers a different way. But I do know that I saw a lot of our pitchers getting ahead in a lot of counts, and that obviously benefited us. So that's something that we have issues with in getting behind in counts and walking guys and
Yeah.
deep in counts and pitch counts and having to go to the bullpen in fifth inning because our starters aren't giving them length. And, in that game, aside from CC, our guys gave us length. We got to hand the ball over to our big arms. And, even in the CC game, our bullpen pitched fine. Our bullpen pitched more than fine. So
right.
you would know better than me, but it sounds like maybe there was a game plan to attack our hitters or attack our pitchers. And, it didn't, work for the best. But like I said, it was one series. You guys have a phenomenal offense. In watching that series, I watch a lot of teams when we play the NL guys, and it is obviously a big difference with the pitcher hitting. But even their 6, 7, 8 hitters are not really that good, or maybe their 7, 8, 9 hitters aren't really that good. And you guys, you're good up until probably about either the hitter or the pitcher a lot of the times. So you guys have a really deep offense. But like I said, it was one series. And believe me, as a Yankee fan, yes, I was happy we won this series on the road, not only because of who we were playing, but because we got punched in the face in Oakland, which, seems to happen every season, and the team really responded. We could have easily went to a little bit of a tailspin, but this team all year has been one of those teams that have, that got knocked down, got right back up, and that's what I've liked about this team's makeup, and that's why I've been, confident with them when a lot of the Yankee fans that I see on Twitter, like, oh, they're frauds, the season's over because we didn't get Greinke, this and that. I have confidence in these guys, their makeup, that, if we get some guys healthy, I'll go to war with them. So, but yeah, it's been one series, and like I said, I'm happy we won it, but if we see you guys in October, I'm not going to point back to the series and say, hey, we dominated them in 3 games, we can beat them easily. No way. It's a completely different series.
Well, I certainly hope so. It does, and I think I really do get that instinct about how the Dodgers are like, okay, we know that their bullpen is great, and we saw these games. They were great. Ottavino, it was unhittable when he was throwing whatever that was. Pitch was crazy.
When he throws strikes, sometimes he comes in and his ball moves so much, sometimes he can't locate the strike zone. Mm-hmm. But when he's throwing strikes, he is so freaking tough. Granted, sometimes the slider will hang up there a little bit, but when he's throwing strikes, you saw it. And he came in there, and I think he had like a 6-pitch inning or something like that. He was incredible.
Yeah. Now that one, that's just all Ottavino. He was great. Like, he was really good. Green was good.
Canley was awesome.
Canley was just electric. Yeah, no question.
Britton was good, and Chapman, our whole bullpen, top to bottom, really showed up that series.
Yeah,
and I
was,
there's no doubt. Happy to see that.
The stuff was really good. Like, that's more that the bullpen specifically. I don't blame that on the Dodgers at all. Those are great pitches. All those pitches were really good.
Right, and that's what I think. I was talking. I actually called Evan this week, and I think he misunderstood my point. Is the Yankees, as you saw this weekend, they have a lot of quality arms in that bullpen. A lot of Yankee fans overreact when you get a bad start from CC, you get a bad start from Hap. Some of these like Sessa, some of these bullpen guys that come in that's just not as good. But you can't use your big guys every night, obviously. But a lot of guys overreact and try to say, hey, listen, when October comes, you are not seeing CC Sabathia. You're not seeing J Hap. You're seeing only these quality pitchers. And we're going to, right now it looks like, knock on wood and cross fingers, that Severino is on his way back. He threw 35 pitches today in a sim game. They said he's going to start in a rehab game in the minors next week. Betances, same thing. He seems on his way back. A guy who, 2 guys I think 3 guys you should keep your eye on is obviously Deivi Garcia, guy who they're very, very high on. That they already threw in the bullpen in the minors for a potential, see how he does down the stretch. Maybe he's an option in the postseason. A guy in Jordan Montgomery who pitched, I think 2 innings yesterday, and Aaron Boone said he can come up and be, and pitch in Major League in September. And if you remember, there's a guy named Brandon Finnegan for the Royals when the Royals were making that run. He's a kid from the minors. He came up and he was almost like a loogie kind of, tough lefty. Now, he didn't really make much of his career. I believe he was traded from Kansas City, but he was the guy that came up and was effective and, have a big lefty to get either a lefty out or something like that during the run. So, Montgomery has, I called Evan. He said, he might just be pitching to get himself back from Tommy John surgery. But if he's effective up here in September, he could be an option in the bullpen. And then there's another guy who I might, I'm a little less keen on because I haven't seen too much of him. I don't think he's had too much success here, and that's Heller. So, we'll see what he brings. So my point is, you're not going to see a lot of these guys who have been ineffective this year come October. You're going to see the starters. You're going to see Masahiro Tanaka. You're going to see James Paxton. You're going to see Domingo Germán. And you're going to see probably Luis Severino. Granted, not 90 to 100 pitches Severino, but you might see 70 to 80 Severino or 85 pitch Severino. So, backed by maybe a guy like Green or something like that. So you're going to see a lot of quality arms. And God forbid if this is what I was trying to say to Evan, and he, they said, God forbid if one of your starters gets in trouble in the fourth inning. Say Tanaka puts, 2 on, nobody out. You're already down 1-0 in the fourth inning. You don't think he has it. You can pull up. You have the luxury because you have so many arms in the bullpen to use guys to get out of jams like that. And I think that plus a healthy lineup, because a lot of good news today on guys like Stanton, Edwin Encarnacion, Luke Voit is absolutely mashing in the minors, in his rehab game in the minors all week. So between that and the quality arms, I think I'm going to war with this team. I think that they have a really good makeup. They have one of the best lineups in baseball when they're pretty healthy. And I think there is a lot of quality arms to choose from. As you saw, if you're able to stay in the game, in a postseason game, you hand the ball off to Green, you hand the ball off to Canley, hand the ball off to Ottavino, hand the ball off to Britton, hand the ball off to Chapman, so on and so forth. They're going to give your offense a chance to get back in the game. And I think that's kind of what a lot of people miss, or not miss, but, maybe are not, seeing that, when they talk about Happ and they talk about CC and this one and that one, you're not seeing them in October. You're not seeing Luis S coming in October. You're going to see quality arms backed by a very powerful offense in October. And granted, we don't have the Verlanders and the Coles or the Clevingers or some of the depth of like the Indians rotation. But, I think we do have some quality arms that, our bullpen's the best in the American League. We have quality arms that we can go to keep us in the game as starters and give our, powerful offense a chance. So I'm pretty confident going, like I said, the Yankees aren't perfect. I'm not sitting here saying they're going to win the whole thing, but, my points are combative to a lot of Yankee fans who thought the season was over and, the trade deadline or we're never beating the Astros and so on and so forth. I will go to war with those guys if we're able to get healthy and we're able to get some of these pitchers back.
Hey, you know what? I think that's completely fair. Now, I want to bring up a couple more points on the Yankees, and one of the points is about the Yankee Twitter, so we'll get to that anyway.
Yeah, I would love to get to that. Something that I've been wanting to get to. So
I know you've been chopping at the bit to do this segment.
Yeah.
But before we do that, how the hell did they find this fat guy, Mike Ford, to play first base? I was like, who's this fat guy? And then he's just hitting every home run. Like, he weighs 400 pounds.
He's from New Jersey. Mike Ford has exactly what the Yankees like. Mike Ford has a very good plate approach. He sees a lot of pitches. He takes his walks, and he hits for power. He's a kid that we have that's from New Jersey. I think he was in the Rule 5 draft, got picked up by Seattle. They released him. We got him back.
How did they do this?
And he was absolutely mashing in the minors for when he came. At the time he came up, I think he had an OPS over 1,000. He was absolutely mashing. And, I've always, liked him because of that approach that I'd mentioned, that he does have, a good eye and he does have some power. Now, obviously, I never said, bring him up here to start, bring him up here to start. But when we had Kendrys Morales up here and he was absolutely shitting the bed every night, I said, come on, you guys got to give Mike Ford a chance. He can't be any worse than this guy. And, he, got his opportunity for some of the injuries, and he's making the most of it. And he's got power. He has a good approach. And he's a guy that I know, a lot of people who follow the Yankees minor league system, they've always liked him. And, I like him, and I'm glad he's up here getting the chance to do it. And it's just nuts how the Yankees have, 30 or 31 guys on the injured list, and whoever they brought up, for the most part, has been, they've contributed in some way. So it's kind of crazy.
Well, I think the question from my point of view is this sustainable? Because I think what he's doing, he's feasting off of like stuff up in the zone, high fastballs. Like, do you think he could hit like other kinds of pitches? Like, is he? Do you? Because I think you ride the wave as long as you ride the wave. But it's going to be interesting to see whether he's going to be able to adapt when pitchers start to change things up with their approach. I'm
sure they'll get a book on him and try to pitch him different. He's a guy who's hit really well in the minors, so I'm sure he's hit all types of pitching in the minors, which is good.
Right.
Obviously, the big leagues is a different story. I don't know if he'll get the chance to, at least this year, to show if this is sustainable for him, if he's able to, keep his success, because Luke Voigt's coming back, Edwin Encarnacion's on his way back, and they have DJ LeMay who plays first sometimes. So I don't think he'll be up here. September calls will probably stay up here, but I don't think he'll get the chance in the at-bats to show if he's able to sustain what he's doing right now. But who knows in the future? I made a comment at the trade deadline because of, the way he was swinging the bat in the minors. I said, is Mike Ford, what's his trade value? Does he have value to other teams, the way he's swinging it? Would he be able to be packaged for, a reliever or a pitcher? And, granted, the Yankees didn't do anything.
It's a little early to
answer your question. I don't know. I don't know if he's sustainable. So, I guess, time will tell.
I think we need to feel that out first before we can, because number one, I think the rest of the teams are doing the same thing. They're like, we're going to need some more sample size on this, but it's a great start. And like you said, he's just filling in. Clearly, Luke Voigt's going to be the better choice between the two. There's no question. He's just a good pure hitter. He's really good. He's really got a good command of the plate. But all the props to Ford for getting it done. And like you said, his defense is good too. So it's been quite
He's kind of in that Luke Voigt mold where he hits for power and he has a good eye and he gets on base. And Luke Voigt just, he did it. He's doing it at a better clip. There's, I don't know exactly what his numbers are at the moment, but prior to his injury, he was approaching a 400 on the base percentage. He was hitting, close to 300. And he was hitting homers. He was an all-star type player. Granted, he didn't get in, but he was on the final ballot. He was an all-star type player. And, but Mike Ford kind of has that profile where he sees a lot of pitches, he works the count, he tries to get on base, and he can also hit for power. But like you said, Voigt's going to be the guy above him. Edwin Encarnacion, when he's not DHing, is going to be the guy above him. So I don't know if he's going to have the sustainability, but he actually, as we're speaking, he just doubled to the gap. So he's raking right now, man. He's playing.
I was been watching the same at bat. I'm like, here we go.
And he went the other way with it too. He's a really good hitter.
There you go. Off a lefty too. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So well, it is Kikuchi though. Kikuchi stinks, but
yeah,
still.
I know. He started off so pretty hot because I remember. In fantasy, I was following him, and he really, and he was on the waiver wire in a couple of weeks, so he really fell off.
Yeah. I got the Royals on another screen on my computer, too. I just saw a headline today from, let me attribute this properly, somebody on ESPN. No, was it ESPN? Yeah, Eric Karabell, who is a fantasy, he's an baseball expert at ESPN. I think he might even be specifically a fantasy guy or a minor league guy or something like that. I'm assuming fantasy because he's always on with Keith Law when they do shows, and he says that Athletics DH Chris Davis should be dropped in most leagues. Now, this is a topic that hits close to home because the two of us have him on our team, and he has been terrible, but he did pick it up in the last 7 days. So. What would you do in that spot? Obviously...
I don't know. I was so high on him because someone else had him in my league last year.
Yeah.
The team wasn't that good.
Right.
And he literally carried that team to a playoff berth. It was an expansion team. Literally carried them to a playoff berth. He had, 50 home runs.
Yeah.
He was, believe he was the number one point scorer as a DH. That's at least what ESPN said before. So I said, we already had, good pitching. I said, if we got a bat that can hit 45 to 50 homers, that's huge. And he has been god awful. Now, if you're in a keeper league, it depends on your other keepers. If you can't fit him in there, absolutely drop him. But, a guy that has 50 home run power, it might just be a bad year. I would, maybe want to look into seeing what he could do a little bit next year.
Yes. Well, yeah. If it's
I mean,
a keeper league, if it's I
him,
think they're under the well, that headline is implying that you're not in a keeper league, but we are. So,
okay. Yeah.
You know,
if I wasn't in the keeper league right now and I needed the space, he's been completely useless. First of all, he wouldn't have been starting for a while, and it's different. With our league, it's not set it on a Monday and forget it. You had to plug guys in every day, so he's going to get some playing time.
Yeah.
But if I was in a league where you set it on Monday and you forget it, he would not be starting for weeks. And if he's burning a hole on my bench, I'd drop him. Absolutely, he's been a huge disappointment this year. Absolutely.
Yeah. You have to bench him. You had to have benched him over the previous 4 weeks. There's no way around that. I mean, he had one extra base hit between June 30th and that game we were watching against the Yankees. That was a week ago.
Yep.
I mean, that's almost 2 months without a home run. 2 months.
It's nuts. And considering what he did last year, I mean, this isn't like a guy who had one breakout year where he just had 35. This is a guy who had 50 homers. He's been known for his power, and this year he has just been been lost. I mean, I've only seen him.
Do you think that there's an injury involved? I feel like there's something going on. I feel like he's got something nagging him. There's no other way to explain that.
I don't know. I mean, I would think if that was the case, I don't think they would let him go out there and flounder for 2 months. I think they would sit him down, get him healthy, and hopefully he can get back to mashing. I don't know. I mean, maybe he has something lingering. I really don't know.
I don't know. That's a good point. I mean, the A's have enough guys they can plug in to sustain a long term on the IL.
The A's are a really good, underrated team. I think Marcus Simeon's really good. Matt Chapman might be one of the best players in baseball that nobody knows.
Yep.
Obviously, I'm their bullpen's good, but I'm kind of their starting pitching is not that great.
They're doing okay this month, but overall, it's all about the bullpen with those guys. Yeah.
But they are really they're a great defensive team. They're a really good, underrated team, and they were a team that I picked to make the playoffs in our preview podcast because I did like their makeup. But I don't want to see them in October. First of all, I don't want to go to Oakland and play them. Second of all, they're a pesky team. They're a good team.
Yeah. They're just good. First of all, let's just get that out of the way. Like you said, they're one of the most undervalued offenses in baseball. They are just continuously hitting the ball. And it's not just with home runs. Like, I saw a game, the game yesterday, they didn't really have that many home runs until maybe the 7th inning, and by then Aaron Gordon was pitching the game. He was pitching the game for 3 innings. That was a complete disaster for Kansas City.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But they're definitely a good team. But
Olsen's good too.
I guess
Laureano. They have they had this guy that he called up, I think Smith, who had a couple of nice hits. That was just today, I think.
And they just called up the kid in the bullpen, the redheaded kid. That they were calling the kid baby Randy Johnson in the minors. He's a lefty that shows gas. So I mean, he's somebody that's going to factor in that bullpen that's already good. So they're a good team. They're a good team.
Sneaky. You gotta watch out for the A's.
So you guys called up your young starter too, right?
Yes, Dustin May. That's right. He pitched.
Dustin May. No, Dustin May has red hair, right?
Yeah. He looks like Carrot Top.
Dustin May's the red hair. The guy in the Athletics who has the long hair, the long blonde hair. I got a little confused, but yeah, I saw you called that kid up too.
Yeah. No, he's he's a rookie. Like, he's barely pitched in the league. So I don't think you can expect him to, do 8 shutout innings every night. And he's done pretty well. He does have the stuff. He really does. Yeah.
Is he going to be in the bullpen?
No, May's actually been starting. Maybe not, long starts.
I'm saying maybe in the postseason.
Oh, yeah. No, we were talking about it. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why these. That's
something.
That's why he's
go back to the Dodgers. That's something I think you guys are gonna do.
Absolutely.
I looked at your bullpen and I said, Kenley Jansen has not looked really good. I'm never afraid facing Joe Kelly, although he did pitch good against us.
He did have a good series. Let's be fair. He
did. Yeah. But I am, I think you're going to have to use some of you guys. Have very deep rotation
on Saturday.
So you're going to have to use some of those guys and throw them back in the bullpen. And
no,
that's something I think a lot of teams are starting to,
Yeah.
try to toy with, within the postseason. You saw it a lot, in the past couple
Astros.
postseasons. So
Yeah.
I
Red
think
Sox
you
did it
guys will
last
end
year.
up doing that at some point.
So it's interesting. We have two teams here. One has a terrible bullpen, just absolutely brutal bullpen. And Baez did pitch well the other day, but nobody trusts Pedro Baez. He's not. I don't think he has the mental mindset to go through a postseason, because he has these mental lapses and he throws stupid pitches, and then teams will hit it all over the ballpark. But it used to be like, oh, we had all these clowns, and then you had Jansen. Well, Jansen's one of the clowns. Like he's given up more home runs in this season than I think he's done in his entire career. It's definitely unusual. So, like you said, I think they're going to start bringing in some of these guys. They already have Urias as part of the bullpen now.
Oh,
So-
I'm sorry. AJ Puck was the kid from Oakland. That name just popped in. It was AJ
okay,
Puck,
okay.
the pitcher from Oakland.
AJ
Yeah.
Puck?
But,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no sweat. I mean, it's good to know because we're going to probably see him in the postseason too. But
Yeah.
so we are looking at a team that has a bad bullpen, but they have starters with a lot of stuff. And I think even Gonzalez could end up being one of those guys too. So you have him and
Yeah.
May,
Yeah.
and then you've got Urias. So yeah, I mean, these could plug in. We already know Maeda is pretty much a lock for making the middle
Right.
relief in the postseason, right? So he's probably in there for sure.
Now, you watch the Dodgers enough. Do you think there's a possibility that whether it's short rope or maybe not putting him in there, do you think Kenley Jansen can find himself maybe not closing games in the postseason?
I don't think, I got it. It's going to take a lot, even with all we've been through. I mean, if there were no emotions in baseball, he'd already be not closing, right? Like there's.
But you guys, I mean, I'm looking at it from the outside here. You guys have been in the World Series 2 years in a row. If you guys either get to the NLCS or even the World Series, and there's been some trouble in the back of that bullpen, I mean, you cannot.
This is tough.
It's hard,
I agree with you.
To get there.
I agree with you, but
So
you know what?
I'm wondering if maybe they'll look at it like at this point, kind of say to him, "Hey, look, we're trying to win a World Series. You're struggling. We're gonna go with this guy to close it." Like if you say you had a bullpen guy who gets hot, do you think that's possible?
It's possible because
think
if someone gets
not gonna
really, if someone gets really hot, the thing that we've known about the Dodgers for the last 3 or so years, basically this regime with Andrew Friedman, is that they're not afraid to demote a guy if he's not performing. They're not. The loyalty only goes so far with the Dodgers. If there's someone better, they will go to someone better. At least that's the concept. This is a very different situation, though, because you're talking about someone as high profile as you can imagine on that pitching staff. It's like the two most high profile guys, the guys that the most fans know about, even casual fans know about. And there's no question in terms of the profile, it's Kershaw and Jansen. These are the most known names on the Dodgers. I wouldn't say household names necessarily, but the most well-known guys on the entirety of the pitching staff. So that's a big story if you're taking him out of the closer role.
Right.
He would have to bomb hard in a postseason game.
Yeah.
Like we're
He would
talking
have to struggle in the postseason.
Yeah, like he would just have to eat it in like a game. It may be like a game 2 or something like that in the division series.
Or even in like a division series or a championship series, if he's been rocky, where you guys are able to get by, and then you get to a World Series, I can see you guys being like, "Look, we can't roll the dice anymore."
Right,
right.
I do think that's in them, but it has to be an extraordinary collapse.
He really has.
He looks terrible.
Not been as dominant as he used to be, and then seeing him against the Yankees, he got not only lucky, but there's no way the game should not have been tied. We can talk about that later, but
I did not see that game.
All around has been inept.
Yeah, so, I didn't see anything of that game, but man, that sounds like the Yankees got hosed on the call. It really did.
He was. First of all, Mike Talkman had a horrific at bat, and he usually puts up a good at bat. So it's hard for me to, yes, the game should have been tied, but the Yankees still had their chances, and they didn't get it done. But he just did not look like the same Jansen. He just did not look like the same guy who would shut guys down, and he was throwing 92 and 93. He wasn't. Do you want
me to break that down? Do you want me to really nuts and bolts this? I can provide a pretty good detailed analysis of what I think has gone on. So we know that Jansen's go-to pitch is the 94 mile an hour, 95, 96 mile an hour cutter, and what he has done throughout the years is made people swing and miss in it. Well, his energy is just not. It's the strength of that pitch is just not there anymore. It's coming in at like 91, 92, 93.
Yep.
And
it's not moving as much.
It's not just the age, but he had heart surgery in the off season. So he's just not going to be the same. He's just not going to have the same strength. So I think there's some transition here. There's a lot of talk about how he's trying to adjust this to kind of like in the vein of Kershaw, in the vein of CC Sabathia, where he's trying to adapt his game to something different. But for a guy that's relied on power his entire career, when he gets a pitch that he's dependent on forever, that cutter, and guys are just fouling it off rather than swinging and missing at it, it has completely changed his ability to close games. And because of that, he's been just damn ordinary. Like where he used to, like you would have like 1 and 2, and the guy would just be swinging and missing and waving at a pitch, and it would look like he was swinging away with a wiffle bat. Well, now they're just fouling it off. They're fouling it off. They're, and then they maybe get a piece of it.
Pitch and they don't miss it.
Absolutely, but the home runs is another byproduct of that because the movement isn't cutting the way it used to. So I mean, he's a very hittable pitcher.
The ball being juiced doesn't help him either.
What's that?
The ball being juiced doesn't help him either.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I also thought that. When in Game 2 when it was like 100 degrees, I'm like, God damn it! If it was like a normal temperature day, Marwin Gonzalez's home run wouldn't have left the fence. It barely cleared the wall. Like it was.
Right.
I was like, that got to me. I'm like, fucking global warming tied the game for the Astros.
Right.
But still, obviously that was a long series. There's a lot going on there. But still, the point is, Jansen. Has definitely looked ordinary, and even if he was like if he was like as strong as he used to be, you do kind of wonder about what he does with his pitches in the big spot because that did make you wonder that World Series because he was struggling in that World Series too, and he barely hung on to Game 6, and it's just crazy. Like I told you in the text, I told you and Fiddle, like The Dodgers I feel more comfortable when the Dodgers are going in the 9th inning down a run than up a run. That's sad.
Yeah, and that's a weird feeling because you guys obviously had so many comeback victories, and that's why as far like I said, I'm looking at it from a non-Dodger fan. You guys are such a good team. You have one of the top rotations in baseball. You have one of the top lineups in baseball. You guys are a very, very good team. So I know it was one series, people talking about, a World Series preview, this, that, and the other thing. And yes, the Yankees, they played really well against you. The pitcher shut down the office. But again, it's one series, it's 3 games. If we saw each other in the World Series, that series wouldn't even be in my mind. I would say it's a fresh, clean slate, and let's go to war. So, you guys are still a very good team. And like I said, the only thing that would worry me, which I think you guys will try to clean up by throwing some starters back there, is that bullpen. Because watching the game and seeing they put the bullpen list on the side of the screen, I was like, damn. So that's not a bullpen that I would be afraid of. If we got one of the starters at the game. So,
and nobody's afraid of that.
They put up your bullpen rankings. And, I didn't see it. I didn't look at the Fangraphs, and I think Fangraphs has it a little different. But the bullpen rankings that, the Fox had out there, you guys were, in the NL, you guys were one of the better bullpens. So
what? What are they basing that on?
That's a great question because I think I looked the next day on Fangraphs. I think you guys are maybe, middle of the pack.
Yeah.
And my laptop's kind of, giving me some issues with connections, and now I look it up. But I think you guys are middle of the pack.
Well, maybe that just means that the rest of the NL has just got absolutely atrocious bullpens. And you know what? There's something to that. Think about some of the teams in the National League. Cubs bullpen is very shaky. The Rockies and the Diamondbacks combined are just horrible. Like it's just like. You can't even get through an inning without giving up a run.
The division is not very good.
No. And then the Nationals, we know they've had bad bullpenning for a while. Phillies, Neris is not, or Neris, or I forget I don't know how you pronounce it, but Neris is good, very good. He did blow the save, but to be fair to him, it was like this first blown save in like a month, so it's not that big a deal. But But in general, the bullpens are bad. Like you think, oh man, the Dodgers bullpen stinks, and then you're like, oh man, like everybody else in the National League, their bullpen stinks too. It's like, okay,
Yeah. You guys, your bullpen. Let me see here, because like I said, I saw the names, and then I saw some of the rankings, and I was like, how is that right? And yeah, I mean, in Fangraphs, you guys are 11th in baseball. I mean, Yankees are 1, Rays are 2. You guys are 11th in baseball as far as bullpen goes.
Yeah,
so,
I think that's more
terrible,
common.
But it's not great.
No, right, but look, maybe it's not as bad as it seems on when we watch.
The Cardinals are up there, the Padres are up there, and then
the Giants and the Padres have good bullpens. I should be clear. Like I did say everyone else, but not those two. Those two teams are good, but right. I think that's it though. I mean, the Pirates bullpen is rough. In the National League, I mean, like it's like. I mean,
the Giants bullpen is 13, Reds is 14, and those,
Wait, the Giants is 13 now? Yeah, they come down.
Yeah, Giants is 13. The Cubs. So the teams who are in the playoff race here, the Cubs are 20th, the Phillies are 26th, the Mets are 26th, and the Braves are 27th. Yeah. I mean, that could come back to bite some of these teams in the postseason. Their bullpens are not good.
Isn't it interesting that the Braves made all those trades for all those big players, those big relievers? And
Shane Green's been terrible there.
Isn't that something? Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah. You got to give them at least some credit for trying, at least, because they know they needed.
No, I mean, what the Braves did at the deadline, I remember looking at the moves and saying, hey, this team's trying to go for it. God bless them. They're trying to go for it. And, they haven't it hasn't all worked out because their bullpen here has still been.
That's too bad because they really put everything they could into trying to fix that bullpen, and it just all those guys.
They're a really good team. They're gonna. I mean that those NL playoff. I mean, I think you guys are the cream of the crop, but I think the Nationals with a healthy Max Scherzer could put a fear into anybody.
Oh
the Braves are a really good team, so those NL playoffs will be fun. As the AL playoffs will be. We've always talked about the AL being top heavy. Well, you're gonna have the top 4 teams in there, so it's gonna be fun.
You got to give it. You know what though? You did. I think you're the one that called the Indians to come back in the division during the season.
Yeah,
that's a big call.
I like. I mean, and granted, they lost Jose Ramirez, and they've kind of, they fell apart in Citi Field against the Mets, and they were making that push because, look, I like Minnesota's offense a lot, but I think there's a lot of, I think they could be had. I mean, you saw the game against the Yankees. I mean, their bullpen's are really good. The bullpen's ranked 3 in baseball. They have one of the better bullpens. So those are the bullpen and the lineup is what they've been riding. But none of their starters really scare me. And we have a very good lineup, so I think we can hit their starters. And I thought maybe I like what the Indians did at the deadline. And it's funny. I mean, both you and I like Yasiel Puig. We do. I just think it's funny that I hear Yankee fans who, when we were playing Cleveland, that were basically praising Franmil Reyes and Yasiel Puig, and I look at their numbers and they have, 305 on base percentage and a 290 on base percentage, and the same people will slander Gary Sanchez, who is a catcher, and has just as many home runs and similar numbers. So it blows my mind. Well, like I said, we'll get into that, but I like what the Indians did. Losing Jose Ramirez definitely hurts. They have a pretty good bullpen. They have good starters. So I thought, they would get back in the mix, which they did. But now I'm thinking they're going to fall a little short. I think they're, maybe 3.5 games out. I didn't check all the scores tonight. But yeah, I did like Cleveland. And I wouldn't want to see Cleveland in a playoff series. I think we're obviously better than them, but they do have good pitching. So that's something you got to look out for.
Yeah. You do have to look out for those guys. He was, and we were all clowning on Ramirez at the All-Star break, weren't we? Fiddle and the two of us. But he turned it around.
He came out like a bat out of hell.
Yeah. That's definitely
He's 26 years old. He's a talented kid.
That's
I didn't think that was.
Yeah, he's only 26. Yeah.
Oh my God, Gary Sanchez has hit a ball off one knee off the wall, but he stinks. But he's terrible. He stinks.
Wow.
Don't get me started.
See, so you're ahead of me by not much. That was just a little bit of a delay. So yeah, no worry about the delay scenario. That's barely a delay. But yeah.
Golfed it off one knee off the wall.
Well, of course, your Twitter fans would also say that Kikuchi is pretty terrible, which he is. He's pretty bad, but no, I agree with you. The one thing about Gary Sanchez, and I don't know how much the media gets into this, but he is really, really good at throwing runners out. And my Dodger catchers, they suck at it. None of them can throw a guy out. Nobody can throw anybody out. None of them do.
Gary Sanchez has, I think, I had the numbers, but he has one of the top pop times, one of the strongest arms in all of baseball. That's what he's good at. His defense, yes, is he's below average, but as far as throwing guys out, that's what he is extremely, extremely good at. And he controls the running game, which in the playoffs is huge to be able to, if you have a guy that does steal some bases and make you think twice about swiping a bag, or if he does try and swipe a bag, you throw him out. It's a huge momentum shift. He is very, very good at that. He has a laser for an arm. Gleyber Torres, when he takes throws, he's really good around the bag, makes good tags. So, yeah, he's an extremely, extremely good, thrower of the baseball behind the plate. Absolutely.
Yeah. Much credit to him. I would say, though, for the Dodgers overall, their defense has been pretty good. There was a week during the year where I was telling you guys, oh, man, their Dodger defense is actually pretty shitty. But I think
your defense looks good.
Yeah, I think that was just a bad. I don't know what was going on. I guess it just was a bad week or something. But their defense had improved a lot over last season. If you go by fielding percentage and things like that, it actually was pretty. Muncy
Mason plays at second base that I've seen. It's been really, really good.
I agree. He's been pretty solid at second. The outfield defense. I mean, Cody Bellinger's just making incredible catches out there. And
he's got an arm on him.
Yeah, great arm. All those guys have good arms. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
I miss Verdugo. Alex Verdugo got hurt, and he hasn't been playing for a while.
Oh, you know what? That was one of the guys. I mean, I had him in fantasy this year. He's been really good. And, he's one of you guys really did miss him. He brings the energy. He's a really good player.
Yeah.
You guys missed him that series. Granted, we missed some guys too, but you guys missed Verdugo. He's a really good player.
Yeah. That's too bad. I would have liked to have seen.
Get out. Boom. All right, let me tell you a stat right now.
All right.
It's Brett Gardner's hit a 3-run homer. Brett Gardner, since June 11th, has a 937 OPS.
Wow.
It is now August 27th. 937 OPS, and it's probably just gone up because he hit a 3-run homer. I mean, it is crazy what he's done. I mean, I didn't want him back. I wanted Michael Brantley, or I wanted Clint Frazier out there. I didn't want him back. And you know what? He's been great in the clubhouse. All the teammates love him, and he's performed this year. So he's been here since 2008. He's one of our guys, so I'm glad he's doing this thing.
Good stuff. So let's get into some other teams. Now, how much time do we have? We're about an hour in. Okay, so maybe
we got some time. We still got to do the Yankee Twitter. We got some time.
Yeah, all right. Let's do the Yankee Twitter now. Because
yes, let's do that now.
It's a clear topic. And this is probably a good venue to really elaborate for our audience who's not up to speed on how that scene is.
So, I mean, I love Twitter because there's a lot of, obviously the people I follow a lot of people, but the majority I follow are baseball fans, baseball writers. So I'm a baseball junkie. I follow 365 days a year. The Yankees are my ultimate passion. So to be able to talk baseball with people all the time, I love it. And listen, Twitter is perfect for people's opinions, ideas, thoughts, giving news, whatever. But if you're gonna throw stuff out there that I feel is either unfair or wrong, and I want to debate with you with it, come at me with more than, oh, well, he just sucks. Oh, he's hitting 250, so he sucks. I've seen some really, really horrible Twitter takes. And I don't know, I'm sure, like you said, every fan base is like this, but the Yankees have had a billion injuries this year, and they have been one of the best teams in baseball. And you have so many Yankee fans who watch this year being miserable fucks, and it is so hard to take. And sometimes it's not even people I follow, and will still pop up on my timeline. I'm like, you need to get a clue and need to get a grip. I'm not going to name any names here, but there's people who the Yankees at the time will have the best record in baseball. They'll go down to the Rays in a third inning, 3-0. Oh, this team stinks. I see a tweet, which is ridiculous. Or you'll see they lost game 1 to the Cleveland, and you'll see this team's fraudulent. They can't beat anybody good. When at the time, they have the best record in baseball against good teams, which literally means they are the best team in baseball at beating good teams. And I don't like when people ignore facts and ignore numbers. That gets on my nerves. It's Gary Sanchez stinks. Gary Sanchez sucks. Gary Sanchez is this. Gary Sanchez is that. Let me read something to you, Dave. Gary Sanchez, since I'll give you 2017, 2018, 2019. So that's his horrible 2018, his good 2017, and his pretty good 2019. Not even adding in his scorching hot 2016 when he single-handedly threw the Yankees into a potential wild card race. He is the second in Major League Baseball in offense. This is all for the catcher position. He's the second in Major League Baseball in offensive catcher. First in homers, first in slugging, first in RBIs, sixth in runs created, fifth in WOBA, and second in OPS. And you cannot sit there and consider yourself a knowledgeable Yankee fan, a knowledgeable baseball fan, or even a knowledgeable human being and sit there and tell me, oh, Gary Sanchez sucks. If you don't understand, if Gary Sanchez was an outfielder, he'd just be maybe another guy who would hit homers and, not get on base a lot, but he's a catcher. If you can't see the positional value what we have, then you should stop watching baseball. I mean, there's people I see all the time tweet, Gary terrible, Gary sucks. He's a 26-year-old catcher who, by the way, is the fastest catcher to 100 home runs in baseball history. We have such, I'm not sitting here saying he's a perfect player because he absolutely is not, but we have a very good commodity, a catcher that a lot of teams do not have. And it drives me crazy when the Twitter community gives you the, oh, Gary sucks, Gary's fat, Gary's lazy. It's ridiculous. And I've seen some pretty bad takes this year. A lot of them from one guy. I've heard that Edwin Encarnacion was washed up and he sucked, and Edwin is great for us. I've heard Aaron Hicks sucks. Aaron Hicks, since 2017, has been granted he's been hurt this year, so, this is when he was playing. I looked at Fangraphs. He's been the third best center fielder in the American League behind Mike Trout and George Springer. But no, according to everybody else, he sucks. So, I mean, I've heard that Aaron Judge is a punk. I've heard that, I've had a debate with this guy about Gleyber Torres, and his response to me, when does Gleyber Torres do anything right? Oh, no, he's just a 22-year-old middle infielder flirting with 40 homers. I mean, you got to be better than that. I heard a take that CC Sabathia did little to nothing to help the Yankees win a ring in 2009. He only finished fourth in the Cy Young voting, ALCS MVP, but no, he didn't do much. I mean, you cannot consider yourself a smart human being or a smart baseball fan and say this type of shit. It drives me absolutely crazy. And like I said, if you're going to come at me and say this player sucks, give me stats, because I'm going to go look at stats and I'm going to throw stats at you to tell you, hey, this player does not suck. I've never seen a fan base who has such a good baseball team think that half the team sucks and not like half the team. It drives me crazy, absolutely crazy. And the James Paxton thing, I liked the James Paxton deal. I did. And granted, he hasn't been consistent. He hasn't been what I thought. But James Paxton, when we traded for him, in the 3 years prior to coming here, like I said, he was 12th in value in baseball. The guys above him, 9 Steven Strasburg, 10 Luis Severino, 11 Garrett Cole, 12 James Paxton, 13 Noah Syndergaard, 14 Trevor Bauer. He is in elite company there. So I don't understand why people will sit here and say, oh, I hated the James Paxton deal. You hated getting a top-flight starter for Justice Sheffield and a top-flight starter. And just find out, listen, I understand the injuries, and I understand you're concerned about that. But with the innings pitched, he pitched less innings than Patrick Corbin at the time, and he had more value than Patrick Corbin at that trade. Granted, it's he hasn't pitched like it, but it's just funny. And I'm sure there's a lot of fan bases like it. But, I mean, you can't say the stuff a Yankee fans say and try to consider yourself a smart baseball man. I remember being in Florida and watching the Yankees, and we had an 8-game lead on the Red Sox, and somebody told me I wouldn't put it past this team to lose 8 games in a row. Have you been watching all year? You really think this team, as good as this team is, they're going to lose 8 games in a row? Like, you got to get a grip. You got to get a grip. And it just drives me crazy. And I love interacting with it. And I would love to do like you said, I want to try to get involved in the podcast, and I think a lot of it I would love to interact with Yankees Twitter, because that's a lot of where I interact as far as baseball-wise. It's where a lot of takes are, a lot of debates, a lot of arguments. So I think that would be fun to kind of get people involved from there. But it drives me crazy. And a lot of my friends are like, why do you even look at this stuff? Like, because they bring it to me. Gary Sanchez strike out. Oh, Gary Sanchez sucks. He's fat and lazy. Gary Sanchez is one of the best catchers in baseball. Like, literally, go look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. And that's what I can't stand. People who literally ignore facts and ignore numbers. You'd be like, oh, Aaron Hicks sucks. He's actually been the third best center fielder behind Trout and Springer going into this year. Oh, yeah, but he sucks. Like, it just drives me nuts. And, another thing that drove me crazy is, we wanted to get a pitcher at the trade deadline. We didn't. A lot of people are like, I'm on to 2020. The season's over, this and that. Like, have some confidence in your guys. We're going to get healthy. We're going to get some pitchers back. We have a lot of quality arms. Granted, we don't have the ace studs, but we have a lot of quality arms. We probably have one of the deepest lineups in baseball. I mean, Giro Urshela, some days are going to hit 8 or 9. The guy has a over 900 OPS, and is trying to vie for a batting title. I mean, have a little faith. I mean, they're a bunch of clowns who, the sky is falling, everybody sucks, but then the Yankees want all to be the first people popping champagne and trying to go to the parade. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Right. So you've outlined a lot of short-sighted, sort of in-the-moment type tweets. Now, the thing I would say to that, though, is that, we're all kind of victim to it, and I know that during games we will say things that we tend to not really think through and we kind of regret.
I agree. But these things happen after games. These things happen in the middle of an afternoon, or when you're sitting here telling me that this person sucks at 1 o'clock on a Monday afternoon. Like, yeah. I understand if you're in the heat of the game and you get frustrated at bat or frustrated at something, you're like, fuck him, fuck this. Like, all right, whatever. But when you want to sit there and really debate with me that Aaron Hicks sucks, that CC Sabathia did nothing to win a ring in 09, that Aaron Hicks sucks, that Gleyber Torres does nothing right. Like, you cannot be a normal human. You cannot look at yourself as an intelligent baseball fan and think that. It's literally irresponsible. If you are a Yankee fan, you say that shit, it is really irresponsible. They have no idea what they're talking about.
Well, in that
vein, like saying you after Cody Bellinger's rough weekend, somebody saying to you, Cody Bellinger's a fraud. He can't play against the good team.
That's what I was referring to. See how, like, you will see this from Dodger Twitter as well. That's not a unique situation. Like, Mongoism is in every fan base. And look, I was even saying that, hey, you look pretty soft this weekend, but I'm actually looking back a little further, and it's like, yeah, actually, Cody Bellinger's been struggling the whole week.
He did not have a good weekend at all. We shut him
not even
down,
close. Not right.
I'm sure that's happened to Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge got shut down in Fenway. It happened.
Yeah. It does happen, yeah.
Cody Bellinger is going to win an MVP. Like, he's fine.
No, he's definitely fine. I mean, I don't think that's the thing. You have to.
But I'm just saying that's how the comparison is. You'll see, see that stuff by Yankee Twitter too. How a guy, will struggle. He sucks and this and that.
I haven't disagreed with anything you said so far, but I do remember that you kind of have some of these players as well. Like, you don't like Hap. We know that. We know that Hap.
No, yes. But numbers back it up that Hap sucks. He's been historically bad. Like, numbers back that up. If you want to sit here and tell me Hap sucks, I completely agree. Hap sucks. CC's is terrible. I completely agree.
That's not much of a stretch. I'm not going to argue that either. I'm not. There's no denying that he stinks like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen, I mean, I will definitely, agree. I'm not a Yankee defender. I think you've known over the years of knowing me. I've killed them. I've killed ownership. I've killed players.
Jacoby Ellsbury scenario.
One of my famous rants is killing Nick Swisher.
Oh, Swisher is the best. Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah.
For those of you who are listening new to the program, you need to go back to October 2010 and check out his Nick Swisher rant, because it's pretty epic.
AJ Burnett I've gotten on. Like, I am not a Yankee defender. I will get on a player if they're bad. J-Hap is fucking bad. I've been tweeting all day that I'd rather see Michael King get starts over him.
I will say this, though.
Get starts over him.
But Jared, the thing is that he's like the fourth starter. Like, I think you could be. It's decent enough. I don't know if you need to necessarily switch him out with some minor leaguer.
Well, he hasn't been decent enough, though. He's been historically bad for a Yankee starter. He's been that bad. He's been giving up homers. He's been really, really bad. And my thing is, I think they're going to end up trying to ship him out in the off season. So I would like to, get, Michael Cain's been pitching great. Bring him up. And hey, if he pitches great in September, maybe he's a postseason, option. Because, God damn it, J-Hap, I don't want him anywhere near the mound, near the stadium.
He's not going to be
anywhere
in the postseason.
To do with the postseason.
I don't think he's going to be. I don't even think he's going to make the roster of the postseason. So
No,
I think
he's not. He's not.
I don't think the
He's
Hemming and
not.
Hawley even makes sense at this point. It's kind of, you know what I mean? I don't think it's going to matter.
He's not. No, he's not. But that's what I'm saying is, if somebody is, if I don't think somebody's good, like I didn't like the Hat deal.
Right.
If Cashman makes a deal that I don't agree with, I will, as you know, I will voice my opinion. I'm not a Yankee defender, but I think the Yankees have a really special team and a really special group, a lot of youth and a lot of talent. So for people to be as miserable as they've been this year, it just blows my mind. So if somebody tweets me and says half sucks, I'd be like 100% spot on. He's fucking terrible. But if someone tweets me and says Aaron Hicks sucks, this one sucks, Gary Sanchez sucks, Aaron Judge is overrated. Dave, I've seen Aaron Judge is overrated. He's a one-hit wonder. Now look, if you want to criticize his injuries, yes, he got hurt in 2016, got hurt in 2018, got hurt in 2019. If you want to criticize some of his injuries, that's fair. That's completely fair. But don't sit here and tell me he's overrated. He sucks defensively. He's one of the best defensive right fielders in baseball. He has a healthy. Right now, he has an on-base percentage approaching 400. But if he's healthy, he's going to have a 400 on-base percentage, and he's going to hit close to 40 homers if he's healthy. Right now, he's probably on pace. He probably will hit maybe 25 homers, and he'll play in 7 or 8 less games than he played last year, where he had 27. If he's ever able to play 145, 155 games, he'll hit 40 homers. I mean, don't sit there and tell me he's overrated. I mean, one of the worst takes on Judge isn't even about his play, but his character, that he's a punk. And that is, I can't tell you how false that is because I've known people in spring training that have interacted with him. I've seen, obviously videos about his charities, signing kids' jerseys, promised an elderly guy a home run the other day, hit him a home run. He is one of the nicest, and I listen to a lot of podcasts. I read a lot of blogs, and all of his peers said that dude's awesome. And all of his teammates, that dude's awesome. Mike Coughlin said when he got traded here, he was, it was like a new kid at school. He was extremely nervous. He said, Judge, went up to him in the outfield, said, hey, man, I'm so happy that you're here. Happy to play with you. Can't wait to win with you. Anything you need, you let me know. And for a superstar to act like that is huge. So that is one of the worst takes. That, the CC take, and granted, a lot of this is from one guy. So,
wait, is it really from one guy? You've been wrapped up all this time from one guy, Cap? Really?
The guy I've been debating with. He, the Gerry stuff comes from Happy Yankee Twitter.
What are you so worried about him?
No, Dave, listen. The Gerry stuff comes from Happy Yankee Twitter. The Hicks stuff comes from Happy Yankee Twitter. This team sucks stuff comes from a lot of Yankee Twitter. But there's one guy that has extremely weird and outlandish takes. Like, how can you sit there and tell me CC Sabathia did little to nothing to win the Yankees a ring in 09? How can you sit there and tell me that Aaron Judge is a punk? How do you sit there and tell me that Gary Sanchez is overrated? Not overrated, but that Gary Sanchez sucks. Right. How can you sit here and tell me that stuff and that Aaron Hicks sucks and the Gleyber Torres is nothing right? When the numbers show that you're completely wrong. And, he sticks to his guns, and it is what it is. But a lot of Yankee Twitter, if you actually search, Yankees after like a loss to Cleveland or to Boston, the negativity is insane. Now, there's a lot of good people on there that are positive, that are knowledgeable fans that I interact with on a daily basis. And I love it because, we're all on the same page. I love some debate. Sometimes we'll disagree on some things, but we each bring a knowledgeable and a respectful argument to the table. It's not just, no, he sucks, I think so. It's, well, his numbers are this here, his numbers are this, his numbers are that. I think this is, and that's what I like. I don't like the Mongos that'll sit there and just say everybody sucks, say this team sucks and that. Look, the Yankees they haven't been healthy all year, and they're one of the best teams in baseball. It just blows my mind how miserable people can be.
So you're saying that basically they've been all right. Well, but the one thing I would just say to that is that the only thing I would say is that the in-game tweets you do, like the one about with the game, the Yankees should have won. It was a bad finish. There's no question about it. Now you're saying that this is the thing you can't have in October. You were just telling me that This doesn't necessarily reflect on what's going to happen in October.
Absolutely not.
But
absolutely not. But in October, the Yankees aren't going to have, the Mike Fords and, the Hafts and the CCs. They're going to have a better team.
Right.
So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to, the overreaction to some of these losses and the overreaction to the Astros and things like that. No, granted, the Astros are the best team that we're going to face in the American League.
There's no question about it.
They're one of the best teams in baseball. They have a loaded pitching staff.
Yep.
Their offense is ridiculous.
Their bullpen is good this year.
They are an extremely good team. But God damn it, I'm not going to sit here and say we can't beat them. The season's over. Dave, I've seen so many teams in all sports and just baseball alone where they were supposed to win and they didn't. I mean, come on. Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, Cole Hamels, Roy Oswalt lost to the Cardinals where they had like Kyle Loesch and Jaime Garcia pitching.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, this stuff happens. That's why they play the games. It's, I've seen the 2006 Yankees who they were murderers row plus Cano. They had, one of the deepest lineups I've ever seen. They lost in the first round to the Tigers and Kenny Rogers. I mean, that's why you play the games. You can't just sit here and say, the season's over, the Yankees lost.
Well, I think
that at the trade deadline, that pissed me off so much that a lot of Yankee fans are just like, oh, the season's over. But they have to realize you're not pitching CC Sabathia. You're not pitching J-Happ. You're not going to have a lot of these guys in the lineup that are in there now. Right now, Brett Gardner's hitting third today. Today, Brett Gardner is hitting third, Dave. That
crazy.
Is not going to happen in October.
Right.
In October, you're going to have a guy vying for the batting title hitting eighth or ninth. That's not going to happen. And granted, hey, we all know that the playoffs are a crapshoot. You got to, a lot of teams, you got to be a team coming in that, a lot of teams come in playing. You've seen teams come in hot that have lost, and you see teams that have come in playing bad that have lost. So the playoffs are a crapshoot. So I'm not sitting here saying, the Yankees are guaranteed to get to the World Series. They're going to have to work to get where they have to be. But what I'm saying is we have the guys in that clubhouse to do it. We have a very good baseball team. And if they lose in the ALDS or the ALCS, then yes, it was a disappointing season, and it did not work out. But that doesn't mean that the team sucked. They have a very talented group. And like I said, you're not seeing CC, you're not seeing Happ, you're not seeing Brett Gardner hit third. Once guys start to get healthy, there's going to be a lot of quality arms to choose from in that, in that bullpen and even in the rotation. I think J-Happ will step up in October. Tanaka, will step up in October. You have Herman, you have Severino. So there's some quality arms. There's no, bona fide aces, but they're quality arms. But you got the back of the bullpen, which is the best in baseball. So I'll go to war with these guys, and we'll see what happens. If they lose, then it's going to be extremely disappointing. But I think that they have what it takes to get far. We've seen the Royals get far, riding their bullpen. We've seen other teams get far who, might have not had the best starting pitching in the world. It can happen. You know what I mean? It can happen.
All right. I think you've stated your cases very well. And look, I agree. I think that like guys who are just, creatures of the moment, don't really benefit themselves here, and they tend to look like horses' asses after an inning or two. It's best to let a game breathe. Yeah, and you may have noticed I barely tweet during games now because I've made a lot of stupid comments.
I'll admit when I'm wrong on something.
Right.
Like I still don't think James Paxton sucks, but I said he would be a top flight starter. Mm-hmm. Right now he hasn't been. Right. So I'll admit when I'm wrong on something, but goddamn, like don't come at me and tell me that all these guys suck. And I throw you numbers to show that they don't suck, and to say, oh, well, they suck. Like that, no. I mean, I remember at the beginning of the year, there was that Romine fan club. Don't get me started. But, yeah, I just wanted to, I'm going to, post this on Twitter. And I know a lot of my Yankee Twitter followers, my good Yankee Twitter followers will get a kick out of it because I'm sure they deal with it every day, too. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to get that segment in, so I appreciate it.
No question. No problem. So now that's pretty much it as far as the baseball stuff. I will make a couple other quick hitters. We talked about the Indians, and good job out of them. Mm-hmm. They're still rolling, even without Ramirez. And, that sucks long-term for them, but they're getting great contributions from guys like Oscar Mercado and a bunch of other dudes. Yastel Puig, they traded for him. They traded for Franmil Reyes, and He's been all right. I mean, he's pretty much what he always does. He can hit a home run.
He's an all or nothing guy. Either he gets a home run or he gets out.
Three true outcome
you look
guy.
at his numbers. I think he has 30 homers or 31 homers, but his on-base percentage is like 290.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I saw plenty of that with the Padres. I'm like, yeah, like I don't think anyone has a very high bar with him.
And Puig's pretty similar, too. Puig hits for some powers, but his on-base percentage is, 310, 305, something like that.
Not the
losing a guy like Reyes, who at the time, not Reyes, I'm sorry, Jose Ramirez, or at the time, I think his on-base percentage in the second half was approaching 340.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big hit. It's a big hit for them.
Big hit.
I mean, that is a big hit in their lineup. But I read that he's out between 5 to 7 weeks. 5 weeks is when the postseason starts, so maybe he does make an appearance in a division series or an ALCS if they get there. I don't know, but that is definitely a big hit. I also saw that Corey Kluber was shut down last week, which I think
that was rough.
that's a big hit for them too. So
yeah.
they're starting to fall apart at the wrong time.
But they are getting Carrasco back, though, aren't they?
Going at the right time.
What
was that?
He might already be back. Carlos Carrasco, Cookie. Like they brought him back.
You know what? I saw that he was facing live hitting last week. I don't know how far he is off from Major League start, but God bless him, man.
Yeah,
I mean, God bless him. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm glad he's fighting that and he's able to get back to a Major League now. So God bless him.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for hard. I mean, to come back from cancer and be able to be able to pitch in the postseason. That's awesome. Like I really hope he does.
And all costs, everything I've heard is that he's a really good guy.
Yeah,
I mean, I've heard that he's a good guy.
I too have heard this.
I'm glad he's able to do what he's doing.
Yeah, it's really remarkable how much more both of us trust Cleveland over Minnesota. No, all the credit to their offense. I mean, their lineup. Their lineup is great. It is seriously like one of the top 3 lineups. Like what are the top 3 lineups? Like it'd be Astros, Twins.
The crazy thing about that lineup, Dave, is how Nelson Cruz has bounced around since he left Baltimore, and how wherever he's gone, where did he get his long-term deal? He got it in Texas.
Texas,
and
yeah.
Since he left Texas, I think he bounced around a little bit. But wherever he's went, he's been a fucking savage.
Yeah.
I mean, wherever he goes, I'm so surprised that my team, could have put him at a DH. I'm so surprised they weren't interested in him throughout the years, because wherever he's gone, he's produced. Their offense is so damn good. Max Kepler is turning into one of the better outfielders in baseball.
He was
a Tennessee guy.
He had bounced back from a really horrible year, and both of us were really, really disappointed in that because we loved him a year ago. Oh, no, actually, we got him back. I'm sorry, we dropped him, and then we got him back in the middle of this year.
We got him back. He's been great.
Yeah.
He's been great.
Yeah, he has.
He's been great. I mean, you got him. You got Sano, who's been good.
Mm-hmm. He's bounced back too.
Both of their catchers have been beasts. They have 2 catchers that have been beasts.
Yeah, Garver's the other, right?
So I mean, they have a really, really good lineup.
Or is Garver the first?
Really, Eddie Rosario. They have a really good lineup. But I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, I would trust Cleveland a little more because they can throw the starting pitching at them. Cleveland even has a good bullpen.
Is that Aaron Boone right there and doing this home run derby, or is that Brett Boone?
Where? When they just
in the highlights
in
they
the
just showed right now.
I was walking around my kitchen.
Oh, okay. You should have seen that. If you can rewind it, they're showing highlights of Aaron Boone, I believe, either doing batting practice or the home run derby. And in one of them, he flips his bat. This is like 2000. He's like flipping his bat. Like,
Let me see this.
You had to see that. That was pretty funny.
Oh, in Seattle?
Yeah.
Let me see. Is that Aaron or Brett?
I would have thought it was Brett, but it looked.
Brett Boone.
That was Brett Boone? Okay. Yeah, because I remember Brett Boone played for Seattle, and Aaron played for a bunch of teams. But...
That's his brother.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, that was funny because he always had the frosted hair and everything. So. Okay.
And I mean, what is your? I mean, not to get back to the Yankees. What is your opinion on this? Do you think Aaron Boone should be up for manager of the year? Because I think he 150%
for the AL. That's an interesting question. Because think about what the Indians have done coming back from being buried. It might be Francona, actually.
From what team?
The Indians, because of how they...
Oh, the Indians. Oh, right.
Yeah, I mean, I would give it to Boone, too, but the thing is, the Indians were just absolutely, completely left in the dust. And from, mid-June up to now, they've completely taken over the Central Division. So that comeback has to be attributed... Often that kind of a comeback gets attributed to the manager. So there's a really good chance that it's...
they're going to be playoff team. They're going to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think? I mean, I guess the answer I'd say no, but only because of that comeback.
I'm very biased, and I've seen what this team's gone through this year, man. I mean, it's one thing if they would have just stayed in the mix and they would have, fought for a division. They've blown the division wide open. They've had one of the best records in baseball all year, and they've had an injury list as big as Al Capone's rap sheet.
Yeah.
I mean, it is insane. And you're talking losing an MVP caliber in Judge. As much as people hate Giancarlo Stanton, he is a damn good baseball player. He's played, 9 to 12 games this year. They've been without Sanchez at 2 DL stints. They've been without, obviously now Voigt's hurt. They were without Didi for 2 months. They lost Andujar for the year. They didn't have Severino, the whole year. They didn't have Betances, Betances, people forget how he's been one of the best relievers in baseball. They didn't have him all year. I mean, what they were able to endure, and like I said, if they were to just stay in the mix, been in the race for a division title, whatever. But they have been the best team in the American League and one of the best teams in baseball. So, in my opinion, I think he is definitely high on the list.
He's definitely high on the list, and I think it's going to be pretty close. And if Boone wins, I would have no problem with it whatsoever. I feel like it would be a very good pick. Like you said, nobody's dealt with worse injuries than the Yankees this year. Nobody. Like that has been a tough road, and they've come out of it, and they've continued to be really strong, and doing so against some of the best teams in the sport. Like it's been a very, very, very.
They have the best record against teams over 500 in baseball. I mean, says a lot.
You don't do that by accident. You just don't. Like
no.
you have to have incredible resolve.
They're a good baseball team, and a lot of Yankee fans should realize that they're a damn good baseball team, and they should be excited if we're able to get some guys back. They should be excited about October. I'm
they can get the Pillsbury Doughboy to play first base, and they can still win games. All right, that's a good team.
Yeah. And it shows their depth. I mean, their depth is so good. I mean, they had a kid in Clint Frazier who came up and was at the time putting up all-star caliber numbers. They sent him down. He never came back up because the other guy they brought up, he was putting up all-star caliber numbers. I'm like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy what they've done. It is crazy. And I'm Dave. I can tell you how excited I am for October. I've been buying T-shirts, jerseys. I want to go to every home game because I don't live alone anymore, so I can't run around my apartment. Drinking whiskey and screaming at the TV. So I'm gonna be at every home game, and I'm so pumped to get ready for October because, like I said, I love this team's makeup, and I think they have a chance. And also, the Mariners catcher there bunting is not cool. When you're down 5-0, and the Yankees pitcher is a no-hitter. Don't do that.
Wait, is that for real? Did they get him out? Let me wait for the delay to catch up here. This is why it's freezing up. Everybody's watching this game. I have this on my MLB TV thing. Wow. I don't know about that. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, the cat. Oh no, right. Oh, did he get on base? Oh, it just keeps going back to the same spot. I don't have it. Did he? What ended up happening in that play? I lost it. I lost the game. Did he actually bunt? Uh-oh. Cap? Hello? Sorry about that, folks. The internet went out as we were talking, and so I just paused it briefly. We're back, and we have Cap back, too. So we were talking about when we were last communicating, we talked about how Narvaez was trying to bunt with the and I did not even realize it because we were so wrapped up in our conversation. But Tanaka had a no-hitter going, and Narvaez tried to bunt. Did he end up actually getting the bunt down?
No, Tanaka got through the inning, and it was funny because the other night my friends were texting about Noah Syndergaard, and he texted me in like the 4th inning. He's like, should turn on the Mets game. Something's happening. And I turn on. I'm like, all right, it's the 4th inning. Like, even with Tanaka tonight, if he gets like through the 6th, then I'll be fucking jacked up. But gets to the 4th. It's going to be the bottom of the sixth. You got a lot of time left. But, yeah, I mean, you're down 5-0. You don't want – if the catcher, don't start bunting, man. Swing the fucking bat.
If it's 5-0, that's kind of ridiculous. But you know what? I would say
think if it was 1-0
if it was
2-0,
exactly, if it was like 1 or 2-0,
this
this was a big brouhaha. There was a big stink about a game that Randy Johnson was pitching in 2001, I think it was, against San Diego. One of the guys from San Diego put down a bunt. Now the game was 2-0, so they wanted to. They were trying to just get somebody on base. I didn't have a problem with that at the time, but man, you heard all these guys just getting on their high horse about the unwritten rules and this and that. 5-0 though, that's different. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a completely
but like I said, it was 2-0, 3-1, 2, whatever it is. Yeah, you want to get guys on base by all means. I mean, but yeah, it's 5-0. You're the catcher. Swing the bat.
Yeah, definitely. That's so we don't need any nonsense like that. We're not gonna have time.
Let me ask you this: You watch a lot of baseball. Have you ever seen more inept umpiring than you've seen this year?
Oh, that's funny. You know why that's so funny? I was just gonna say we didn't have time to talk about it, and you just brought it up, so we do have time now. We do have time to talk about it because you just brought it up. So, no, I don't think I've ever seen it. You've got a lot of young guys umpiring lately as well. I used to say, it's the entitlement of the umpires. It's all these old guys. But now we got young guys, and they seem to just not have a feel for the strike zone and outs and balls and foul or fair at all.
It's very inconsistent.
Yeah, it's very true. They don't seem to have command of what they're doing. It's like they seem to be unable to pick a lane with what they're calling. And you're absolutely right. It has been as bad as I've ever seen. But I wanted to make this point because I don't think a lot of the media has made this point, or they just haven't caught on to it yet, and I think they will soon. But even as bad as it is, I really do think that players need to calm down. I think they think the whining and moaning and getting into the umpire and throwing gloves. You saw it with Buxton last night. Justin Turner at the end of the game was going at it at the umpire, practically coming at his head, going right at him. And I'm like, dude, let it go. You got dominated by Kirby Yates. And secondly, it was a good pitch. So what are you complaining about? It was a good pitch. And that was actually a case where I thought that Turner had let the emotions of the whole weekend get to him. Because then the Padres came back. The Dodgers had a lead in that game, in last night's game in San Diego. And the Padres stormed back and took the lead. And I think the Dodgers were just angry. And I think they were just taking it out on the umpire. And I thought that was out of line. Justin Turner got suspended a game for that incident, and I completely agree with that. I thought he was completely out of line in that spot. So my point is, yes, the umpiring is brutal, but I don't think the players suddenly have an excuse to act like a spoiled brat either. So I think these guys need to check themselves. And if they don't check themselves, the manager needs to check them. And if they can't check them, then the umpire needs to throw them out of the game. And I have to be honest, I think that it's gone a little too far. The players have started to act a little bit too entitled lately with how these things have been judged. And even if it's wrong, you can argue, but do it to a point. Don't show up the umpire. I think it's just that these guys have just really gotten carried away with that. So I don't know where you're at with that, but I definitely agree with the calling of balls and strikes. And it's just one more mechanism that supports the use of robot umps is kind of inaccurate, but
For me, it's been everything. I mean, I've seen them screw up reviews.
Yeah. I've
seen them, and if you screw up, get the call right. Even all right. So our game, I don't know if you said you missed the Saturday game. I don't know if you saw it.
I missed the ending. I was out with family doing stuff.
Max Muncy even admitted that he looked up, saw Glaber breaking, and stayed on the ground and fake being hurt. He said in his post-game press conference, which is fine. It's gamesmanship. He got away with it. Whatever. But if you're the umpire, I equate it to this, and I've seen it happen for my team. You hit a ball deep to the outfield. Outfielder crashes in the wall, lays on the ground, ball's rolling. You can't call a timeout in the middle of a play. You can't. You can't. I've seen Derek here inside the park, a home run off something like that. A guy actually broke his wrist in center field doing that. I've seen Aaron Hicks hit inside the park, home run with somebody falling and getting hurt. The Glaber broke for home, and he's halfway down the line, and the pitcher at the time threw his hands up, Jansen threw his hands up, and then the umpire threw his hands up, and Glaber was like, you can't do that. And obviously there was a powwow, there was an argument, and they still didn't get the call right. And what did they do today? They came back and they said, oh yeah, by the way, we were wrong. Game should have been tied. Oh, well, that fucking helps. Between that, the replays I've seen replays so clear as day. Oh, he's out. I go in the other room, I'm doing something, I come out, and the guy's safe. I'm like, how do you miss that? And then obviously the strike zone has been atrocious. I mean,
let me follow that up.
As well.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
But does that give the players excuses to act like babies to them?
No, I'm not.
We're talking about separate things, but they do tie in because they're in the same scenario. But I do think that they need to, even as bad as this is, they need to start acting like professionals. They're called professional athletes. Start acting like a professional.
I agree, because even in other sports, like it gets really annoying watching. Every time there's a whistle in the NBA, somebody's complaining, somebody's arguing, somebody's just saying, I didn't do it. Yeah. Or even in the NFL, no matter what flag is thrown, the head coach is screaming.
It really is sounding like an NBA game now. Everybody's complaining, yelling at the officials. It's like, guys, it's a fucking 162-game season. You need to just move on already. Yeah.
So I got to be consistent. If I don't like it in other sports, no, I don't like it in baseball. I mean, it happens a little less, obviously, but no, I think guys need to get a grip on some of the things.
I'm just saying, it's starting to get away.
I thought the bang. Yeah, I love Brett Gardner. I thought the banging on the dugout at first was funny, and I thought it was a way for him, because to his credit, they never told him he couldn't do that. They never said, "Oh, you can't do that." So instead of him yelling at the umpire from the dugout, he would just bang his bat, and that's how he voiced his displeasure. Which, yes, it was stupid, but like I said, at first it was funny. But you got to be. First of all, it's going to hurt the team if you're getting thrown out of games, and it happened to the Yankees. Gardner got thrown out of a game. We had to put Daiwa Estrada in left field, and he hurt himself. Fuck, Tanaka gave up a hit. Whatever. But you got to keep your emotions under control, especially in October. And I think the guy that does the best of doing that is Aaron Judge. Nobody gets screwed more than Aaron Judge. I watch the Yankees every night.
He's very good at that.
And
that's true.
His strike zone is so unfair, and he's been in the league for since 2000.
It's a tough strike zone, though, isn't it? I mean, so tall, and it's tough to it's tough to really judge where
they haven't been able to fix it. Yeah. But I agree with you. I think the players need to be better with the way that they react. But I also think the umpires need to be held accountable. Like, look, the umpires missed the call on Saturday. What's going to happen? Nothing. The umpires have a bad day. They're I know it's not an easy job, but it is their job, and they have to be better at it. And I think a big thing is now, at least to my knowledge, they're not held accountable. They're not fined. They're not taken off games. They're not, benched if they need more work. They're not held accountable. And Joe Torre and Major League Baseball, they need to make these guys accountable because they're screwing games up left and right. I mean, I watch a lot of baseball, Dave, and the umpiring is so damn inconsistent and so damn bad. I don't remember ever being this bad. And granted, maybe pitchers are nastier, and you add that box, where your fans could really see when an umpire makes a mistake, whereas before you might be saying, oh, that was a close pitch. Give him the benefit that was a close pitch. But now you know exactly that wasn't a fucking strike. So, I mean, it's been difficult to watch. I know me and Ari, we've been big advocates for electronic strike zones.
Yeah.
So
it's coming. I think it's coming, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I think your point, I think we're both on the same page here. We both think that umpiring is as bad as we've ever seen. And you're right, it's not just the strikes and the balls. It's everything. It's the replay reviews, out, safe. They really have botched a lot of stuff. And the players have responded very poorly to these situations. And you have to be. If you're mad about something, you're mad about something. But I think they're just now going a little over the top. And now I feel like they're just trying to make a show out of it, and it's with an aim to draw attention to themselves and draw attention and show up the umpire. And I think in either case, I feel like it's out of line. So I think guys just got to calm down, because we saw it with the Toronto Blue Jays several years ago. They get all pissy about the umpiring, and they get no calls, and that's going to be the end result if you keep going that direction. So it does nothing but hurt you if you don't act in a little bit more professional manner with some of the stuff. Because if you're just whining and moaning about everything, whether it's right or wrong, then you suddenly become like the boy who cried wolf, and they're just gonna stop. They're just gonna stop paying attention to you. They're just gonna ignore you, and you will get no calls. And
I think
you don't want that reputation.
Yeah, and that was a concern with what the way that the Yankees had issues
I
with
was
the
thinking
umpires.
that, like they've been really getting at umpires from the moment that you had the Savages and the box fan, which I love.
Well,
I love that.
The thing
But
with the Yankees, and I'm sure a lot of baseball teams, try this approach, but the thing with the Yankees is, and Boone has said it from day one since he got here, is control the strike zone and hit pitches that you're supposed to hit. And the Yankees, that's their MO, is to control the strike zone, work the count, and hit good pitches. So when an umpire is inconsistent and they're calling balls strikes that are balls, and it's screwing up their approach, and that's the way that I can see them getting upset, but they need to handle it in a better manner. Now, let Aaron Boone handle it. He's the manager.
I think that's fair. Let the manager handle it. I love that. That is good.
You can't have half the dugout getting thrown out of games. You can't do it.
No. It's just going to hurt them in the end, like you said. Like, it's not just the fact that the umpires stopped giving him any calls, but you're getting your guys kicked out. That's going to hurt you directly. It's not for the betterment of the game. There's no question.
Now, I know that's a concern about the calls. Now, look, the umpires have a job to do, and they're, obviously on, if the postseason comes on the national stage, they don't want to embarrass themselves. They don't want to be the guy that's talked about the next day of being inept and not making the right call. So I don't think that they're going to purposely screw a team. But, maybe if there's a close pitch, it might go a different way. But I would like to think that these guys are professional and they have a job to do. But you don't want to get on guys' bad side. You don't want to do that. You just don't. I mean, granted, every team can have issues, in baseball with a call, with an umpire on a certain day. Let the manager handle it. Obviously a player will get involved, every once in a while. But it seems like the Yankees have been, getting umpires' faces for the past, couple months. You got to tone that down a little bit.
Yeah, word up on that. That's pretty much all the time we had, but I have a couple of closing thoughts.
Sure.
Number one, Tauchman needs to pick up the pace here with the offense. I would like to see him get on base. It might be something in on that. It might be a FanDuel thing. It might not be. No, it actually is. But
oh, you mean tonight?
Yeah, tonight. Just tonight. I did have some random questions for you, actually. You ready?
Sure, let's go.
Okay.
Let's get it, yeah.
So for those of you listening for the first time, Random Questions is a feature we do where we just ask questions not related necessarily to sports. Sometimes they are. And we just go rapid-fire style. Oftentimes, listeners of the program send in the questions, and we just ask them in order. And we usually ask all the questions. If something's really inappropriate, we don't. So that's basically it. You just ask us a question, and we try to answer the question. That's it. It can be about anything. But tonight, these are my questions. These are questions that I sent to you. And so let me give this to you really quickly. Okay, number one. What is a place in the United States you have not been to yet, but you want to visit?
Place in the United States that I have not been to yet that I want to go. Let's see. Been to Austin, which was great. Been to New Orleans, which was great. Just got back from Dallas, which was cool. A place that I have not been to, Florida. Place that I want, LA.
There you
to
go.
be honest with you, LA.
Look at that.
My friend actually just got back from there from his honeymoon, and I've always wanted to check out what life was like on the West Coast. And he was telling me, he's like, it's a lot of money there, but he's like, it's really cool. So LA is a place that I've always wanted to get to, and one day I will. And when I do, I'll make sure to hit you up.
Yeah, I love it. I'll show you around, man. That will be fun.
Definitely.
Okay, LA. It's funny that you haven't been here. You've been to a lot of places. You have been to quite a bit of this country.
And I've always wanted to go there. Watching Entourage and all this stuff. I'm like, I want to go to LA, and I want to go, see what life is like out there. Yeah. So definitely would like to go to LA.
I think you would love the Sunset Strip. I think you would love Beverly Hills. It's going to really blow you away. And I
think so too.
Yeah. So we look forward to your arrival once you get here. Dodger Stadium. Got to go to Dodger Stadium. Do a game there.
110%.
Wouldn't that
definitely.
be fun? Yeah.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
All right. So very good. So that's number one. Number two, what is the city outside the USA that you haven't been to yet, but you want to visit? So something basically at an international location that you want to go to.
I want to go to Italy.
Ah.
I'd say that's number one on my list.
Okay.
I mean, I'm Italian. It's, my family, I've had family members that have gone there. Obviously friends that have gone there. I want to, experience the food, the culture. I think Italy right now would be number one on my list as far as, going to a place to, out of the country. Obviously, Bora Bora, Turks and Caicos would be nice too, but I think, not on an island. I think I'd like to go to Italy.
That's really cool. Explore your heritage. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I love Italian food. So, from my family members that have gone, my friends that have gone, they've all told me how great the food is and the culture. So I would definitely want to check that out.
Good stuff. Okay, number 3, beef ribs or pork ribs?
Pork ribs.
All right, so still on the pork ribs. Now, did you have any beef ribs when you were in Austin?
I did. They were good. I've had beef ribs a couple places, but nothing like a good traditional pork rib, man. They're fall off the bone pork ribs. Awesome.
That's good stuff. That's pretty cool. Any places offhand that you really like the pork ribs there, like the baby backs or the spare ribs?
Well, I've been to obviously I've been to Austin, and the barbecue there was freaking great. We went to a couple places, and it's not a place because I don't know the name, but we went to a food truck at after the bars or whatever, and they had the pulled pork sandwiches, they had pork ribs, and for some reason at 2:30 in the morning I wanted pork ribs, and Dave, let me tell you, these pork ribs were incredible. You could have eaten them with a fucking spoon. That was how tender they were.
Dude.
They were so good. They were so good.
That's rad, man. That's very cool. That's a dream. That's living the dream. And to think that somebody
was awesome.
At 2:30 in the morning they were making ribs. Can't even imagine that.
Yeah, well, they have, if you go to Austin, you go to 6th Street. It's a big party area, and they have food trucks. They have tacos. They have barbecue food trucks. And we went to a barbecue food truck. My buddy got a pulled pork sandwich, and I saw ribs. And for some reason, I was like, "Oh, I'll get the ribs." Give me 4 ribs or something. It was so good, man.
Oh,
it was so good.
I like that. That's gonna be on my bucket list too, Austin. I gotta go. There's a game. I'm scooping tomorrow's show, but there's a game. Remember, how LSU's gonna go to Texas to play in Austin? Oh my goodness, I'm gonna go to that game. But the tickets are
you should go. You would like
wish
Austin.
I could. I would love to go. The ticket prices are just through the roof, though. It's
not bad. I mean, honestly, if you just went to the game ticket or the flying ticket.
No, the game ticket. The game ticket. It's
well, if you flew there and you just went to the tailgate to experience that, I think it'd still be a really good trip. You have good food, experience the tailgate, experience the city. I think you'd have a really good trip. Oh,
okay, yeah, I guess it's true. And I'm sure people have tailgates you can buy your way into to get food and stuff.
Oh my God, tailgates there are incredible. I had a friend of mine one here. She went to a guy and a girl. I know that went to UT, and that's right by Austin. And they would tell me how the tailgates and game day mornings are just incredible down there.
Oh man, I'm all over it. Yeah, that's a good point. And then for the game, maybe some people just stay in the parking lot and watch the game. We could just watch it in the parking lot.
100%. A lot of people do.
Yeah.
A lot of people do.
I didn't think of that. That's a good idea. Okay. So one to add, one to put into the book. Okay, so number 3, here we go. Is LeBron trying too hard with the Forced Taco Tuesday meme?
Yeah.
Come on.
It's funny. It's funny, but it's enough's enough. And listen, LeBron is a really good dude. He's a family guy. He's good to his kids. He's good to his wife. He's never gotten in trouble.
Yeah.
So I don't understand a lot of LeBron hate from people. Maybe because he's shoved down everybody's throat or whatever. But he actually is a really good guy. When it comes to his family and not getting in trouble and things like that. But yeah, I don't even look at his Instagram anymore on Tuesdays. He's some kind of wild accent. So yeah,
the best one.
That's not a jump the shark.
Absolutely. That really jumped the shark. It leaped over the shark. But
it was funny the first 2 times he did it. Now it's all right.
I know, right? It's just nuts. But you had to remember. You had to think. Would you agree? I should say that the number 1 Instagram fail of all time of his career was when after the Lakers got spanked one game, and then he had to tweet about how he reached some milestone.
Yeah. I think we talked about that.
I think we did. And they were just, the comments were just killing LeBron that night. It was just gold.
You can't do that. He likes to pat himself on the back with stuff like that, and that's one of the things that I mean, let other people do that, man. I mean, you want to do it once in a while, like, let other people do that, man. You don't have to post about yourself or whatever. Like, let other people do that.
It's kind of right. Like, after a while, we've seen plenty of people that we know go into those kind of histrionics, and it does get old after a limited amount of time.
Absolutely.
Can I share something with? No, I can't do this on the air. I'll tell you off the air. All right, but let's get to the next one. All right, we still have 2 more questions. Okay. Right. What is the most money you've won in Vegas that you can think of?
So I've never won money in Vegas.
Oh, you've never won money? You've never won money in Vegas? Oh,
no.
Wow.
I've won money in casinos, but I've never... I've won a couple grand in casinos before, but I've never won money in Vegas. I've went to Vegas a couple times, and I've always either maybe I've won like $150, $200, but never. I've lost a lot. The last time I went, I lost. The time before that, I lost. I sat down 7 times. The last time I went, I sat down. I was there for 4 days, so I sat down playing blackjack 7 times. I lost all 7. I never won once that whole trip. So Vegas has not been kind to me as the gambling wise, but as far as the other stuff, I've had some of my best memories and best experiences of my life in Vegas. So, that's that city. I love that city. Pool parties, clubs, meeting different celebrities, being there with my friends. I mean, it's.
You've actually met celebrities in Vegas. Incredible. Look at that.
What was that?
You actually met famous people in Vegas.
Oh, yeah, a bunch.
Wow.
A bunch.
Oh, I mean, you've said some stories. I didn't know if some of those were in Vegas. Maybe they were. That's pretty good.
Somewhere in the Bahamas. Somewhere in Vegas. We're at a pool party with Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, that makes sense.
For a bachelor party.
That makes sense.
I met David Lee out there. Damon Jones out there. Who else have I met out there? I met a couple people. Yeah. Bahamas. I've met probably more. I've met Ja Rule in the Bahamas. I've met. What else did I meet? I think.
Well, you mentioned Gronkowski one time.
Oh, I met Gronkowski in Miami.
Okay.
We were at a club in Miami. You probably know the name. You know Bobby Serra, old basketball player.
Bobby Serra. Look at that. Wow.
He played. You remember him? He played for the Cavs. He dyed his hair blonde.
Right. I vaguely remember him. Vaguely remember him.
This guy. He let us go in his VIP. He bought us bottles. He was the nicest guy.
Look at that. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very nice of him. That's very cool. That is very cool.
Ran into a couple celebrities on these trips of mine, but I got invited to Dan Blazarian's house.
Yeah.
The last time I went to Vegas, one of my best friends. He's a king. He does really well for himself, and he's doing business with Blazarian. And he FaceTimes me, and he's like, "Hey, I saw you're in Vegas." Like, I'm in Vegas. He's like, "I'm at Dan Blazarian's house." He FaceTimes me. He's on a rooftop with a pool surrounded in fire. He's like, "Come here." And at the time, I was with my girlfriend, and she was just like, "I'm not going to Dan Blazarian's house at 3:30 in the morning." I was like, "Damn it!" But yeah, man, I've had some really, really good times at Vegas.
That's really cool. Okay, so last one. Here we go. Giants, and I should be specific. The New York Giants, over or under 6 wins this year, Cap?
I'm going to go with under.
Yeah, I hear you on that. They are atrocious.
I'm going to go with under.
Yeah, pretty good. Okay. And as I do at the end of a random question segment, I always ask, do you have any questions for me?
Off the top of my head, not that I can think of, but I talked to you enough that I'm sure I asked you enough questions.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, so let's not even worry about that. All right, well, Jared, this has been a lot of fun. A lot of Yankees tonight, but I thought that this is pertinent though because, you did say that from the top that you wanted to get into this tonight, and I think it's a very interesting look at the team right now, and certainly when Ari's back, we'll we'll get into more baseball stuff. But it was good to talk baseball because I definitely want to talk about a lot of stuff. We did cover a lot of other topics too.
I thought it was fun jumping on with you right after a Yankees-Dodgers series.
Yeah.
With the Dodgers. And then, obviously me with the Yankees. So I was really excited to do that and get, and you broke it down really well, obviously. So I was excited to get your take on your team and kind of, go through the series. And then, I wanted to touch on, a lot of Yankee stuff that, I wanted to, either get off my chest or, my thoughts and things like that. So it was, I was looking forward to this all day, and I'm glad we were able to do it.
Yeah, that was fun. This is kind of what we wanted to do 2 years ago when we were really hopeful that the Yankees and Dodgers would make the World Series. Yeah. It didn't quite work out. Mm-hmm. So this is a little slice of that. That definitely makes me feel good too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that we're doing this in October, and we're making a friendly bet on the World Series.
Oh. Well, you made me like the mayor bet where like, I'll send you an avocado truck or something, and you send me.
Or like, if the Yankees win, I'll Venmo you lunch, or the Yankees will Venmo you lunch or dinner.
All right, we can do that. Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to step it up since it's World Series? Do Fogo maybe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God, Fogo on the line for the World Series. Could you imagine that?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey man, biggest stage in baseball. We got to bet a little big.
That's right,
absolutely.
Man. That's a good. Oh, I love the call. Love the call. All right, Gerry. Yeah. Well, I know it's getting late. Thank you again for coming on. This definitely was a good show. And tell your friends, and I will do the same. I'll tell my friends too about this program.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, and I can't wait to talk again.
You got it, man. Take it easy.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, bud. That's Gerry and Piscataway. And that's our show tonight. We are going to resume our football season tomorrow. Or we're going to start our first football picks program of 2019. Do join us. We have Ron in New Jersey. We have Andy in Seattle. We have John in Connecticut. And we have a guest picker this week. And that guest picker is Mike in North Jersey. We'll have some bonus PGA Tour coverage at the latter end of that show. So we hope you enjoy that all tomorrow here in the city. I'm Dave Medina at DidCow on Twitter, on the web at didcow.com, and on Apple Podcasts, look for Dave in the City Out West. Give us a good rating if you could. You got to mean it, though. But we hope you like the show, and we'll see you next time.